So this is Magnus, I'm back, and this time I'm gonna tell you a little bit of a secret. There's a rule in chess called the square. It's about... I don't know what it's about, that's the point. Because I don't know the rule of the square. Somebody tried to teach it to me when I was little, and I didn't really get it. But I feel like I've gotten away with it in most of my games, and I can sort of intuitively feel what it's about. And later you can check it out on the Magnus Trainer. You can learn about the square, and you can know what I never learned. So what I will instead show you is one of my specialties, it appears. At least something I've done twice. It's turning around a very bad queen ending and winning it with a pawn that cannot be caught by the king, because apparently the king is not in the square. So what I did here is, this was an online game against Alexander Grishuk from 2017. What I did is, I think I've been worse for most of the games, as I usually am against Grishuk. And here I gave a check. Again, I'm getting mated with queen d7, queen f7, whatever, very soon if I don't give checks, so I have to give checks. I think we're both pretty short of time here. Again, for those who know Alexander Grishuk, they know that he's constantly short of time, so it wouldn't be a surprise. And here he made a fateful decision. He played queen to g3, and what happened is, I could see that the checks were soon going to run out. If I go queen to e2, he has queen to f3. And yeah, there are no more checks. So at this point I thought, well, I have to take, and then I think later. So I exchanged the queens, and I played a5. And what is important now to know is that the king is not in the square of the pawn. If only I knew what that means. But in my experience, it means that the king cannot stop the pawn. But if you do know the rule of the square, you don't have to calculate it every single time, like I've been doing for 20 years. It should also be noted that in the case of first of all, there are many choices for white here. You can go king h4, and I have to continue checking and beg for a perpetual, which I probably will get. King f4, never a good idea to place the king and the queen on the same diagonal. Loses to queen h2, taking the queen on the next move. And there was also king to f5, which is also not a very good choice because of the pawn is on a6. Queen goes to f3, queen to f4, take it, and a5. And now the king is in this square, so we can try to catch the pawn, but it's not going to be able to catch two pawns that are running on the opposite sides of the board simultaneously. What I can say though is that in this position, instead of going for king d4 trying to catch the pawn, he could go king to d6 instead. I go a3, since king d8 is trying to stop the king coming from to c7 doesn't work. e7 check, king e8, king e6, a3, d6, and checkmate with d7 next. So I would have to go a3 instead, king c7, a2, d6, a1, queen, d7, king e7, d8, queen, king takes e6, queen d7 check, king e5, once again the diagonal, king and queen, not a good idea, queen takes g7 check, taking the queen next, and winning the game. Which goes to show that even though the concept of the square is an important one, there are no absolutes. And thus, in this case, if I would give a check on f3, queen goes to f4, I would have to take a pawn on d3, and well, give another check and hope it will be enough. Remember, this was a internet blitz game. We had only a few seconds both, so I choose to believe that I would have been fine, but who knows. Anyway, I was luckier. He went queen g3, I took it. King takes g3, I went a5. King is not in time, and yeah, it's neither in time to queen his dangerous pass pawns, nor is it in the square. You can learn more about this on the Magnus Trainer and playmagnus.com. You can also learn more about another nice swindle I pulled off against Anand in a blitz game, where I also took advantage of his king not being in the square in a lost queen ending. So more good stuff. Maybe I'm eventually gonna learn about the square myself.